culture, identity, and myth need an enemy. It needs something to sharply define itself against. And I had this talking point that I did for a while. I generally don't like to do the right wing, left wing type thing because I think it's very often inaccurate and very limiting. But it is useful heuristic, and I think it'll work here. I've often said that the right wing are moral in this society, at least in America. Right wingers are moral relativists. Left wingers have a religious morality and a motivating myth. Because with right wingers, there's nothing that unifies them. It's all in reaction to the revolutionary spirit of America, basically, and to the elites of primarily Jewish, but others as well that rule that country. And so all they are defined as is in reaction to that. In order to have the biggest possible tent possible, they have to necessarily become relativists in order to believe that they are opposing that in any way when they actually aren't. They really actually aren't. I mean, the left wing, which is really just liberalism, they have an animating myth. America is a white supremacist country, and it has to be undone root and stem. So I mean, they see us as the enemy, and therefore their culture, or what I would just call culture distortion, but their culture, their identity, their myth, sharply defined. And that's the problem we are really having, and why we have all these conversations about and why you get into all these online fights about, like, well, what's the religion going to be for everybody, and are we going to have a religion, or like who's within our little in group here? Is that you guys are, if you're discussing things at that point, I mean, it's all theoretical, and you're basically just discussing another form of ideology. You're hoping that once you establish that ideology, you're going to get everybody on board, and like, we have this sharply defined, we have our 100-step game plan here, let's go forward. I think the easier way to do that, instead of trying to make that work, is you need something that can actually cause you to become sharply defined. And when you're dealing with a mass that generally is not going to go along with you anyways, because that's the thing. Like, when people talk about how do we red pill the normies, you can't, because the thing is, like, even if you get the quote unquote normie to agree with you on crime statistics and Jewish power and the homosexual question and all that, the inevitable question they're going to pose to you is, okay, so what? You don't have an avenue to power. You can't do anything about that. Why are you asking me to put my livelihood on the line for your pipe dream? I have to work with. I mean, they're not going to be that articulate, but that is the essence of what they're saying. Is like, I have to work with what I have. I'm just a normie. I have to go with what is capable, with what's actually possible. And honestly, if these people are in power, they must have done something right. They must know better than you. Maybe they're right. That's the problem you're dealing with. And until the United States suffers that debilitating blow that causes everybody to no longer see it as legitimate and to question, why are we following this? Is there somebody else we can follow? That's the brick wall you're going to keep running into.